Hello and welcome to a beautiful week, even though it started on a quite shaky news, but hey, we will make it. Why are we talking about that? We're looking at Ghana's security going forward. Now, prior to this week, we had already been benevolent and compassionate, and we were hosting two ex-Guantanamo detainees. That created a huge uproar, which hasn't even settled yet because some of the details are not fully in the public. Finance Minister is saying I wasn't fully briefed. Minister for Interior is saying I wasn't fully briefed. However, in Akan, they say that if you see your neighbor's chin on fire, you hurriedly go and fetch a packet and put it next to yours. Now, here we are with Ouagadougou just up the road, and they've been attacked by some terrorists. So it makes us wonder, is this closer to home than we think? Is it closer to comfort than we think? Or we are just panicking for nothing? Indeed, government says they have tightened the borders up north. But I can imagine it's probably about 400 kilometers from, one corner to the other. Have we got enough men to police along all these 400 kilometers of bordering land between us and Burkina Faso? I don't know. However, you and I have to be vigilant, have to be alert. We have to look at things that are not normal, anything suspicious, and report it. That's what we need to do. But how do we do that? I am yet to know. But the big question is Ghana under threat? I hope not. My name is Nana Sakwa. This is PM Express. When I come back, I'm speaking to Ibad Ibrahim. But let's listen to what the Interior Minister says, and we take it from there.
The police have also intensified their intelligence unit. I know information is key to security, and all regions are also doing the same. All the regional commanders have also been sensitized. They are also going to make similar deployments at very sensitive areas, installations, and public places. We also would want to strengthen security at the northern borders. In fact, this morning, the immigration officers at our three northern borders, Hamele, Paga, and Misiga, are being asked to tighten security, scrutinize everybody who is coming into the country. We are also going to work closely with our neighbors, their counterparts on the other side of the border. Well, air travel will be, those people who are coming into our country will be thoroughly screened at their airports. And we normally would have a list of people who are supposed to be stopped from coming into our country. And that is why it is very useful to have collaboration with our neighbors. We expect that exchange of information in this regard will be very, very useful. And that we are doing very well.
Well, hello and welcome back. And we are looking at Burkina Faso terror, taking Ghana into perspective. And with me to discuss this is a man who knows about security and knows about international affairs. And normally I'll be playing devil's advocate, but I don't want to scare anybody or get everybody panicking. So we're going to do it in a very light conversational method to find out, what the real situation is and what we should do to stay out of trouble. Ibadi, you're welcome.
Nana, I think apart from I'll be your second wife.
Because
I'm so used to you. So pick me as a second wife since you are a chief.
I know.
Always a pleasure.
I know.
Always a pleasure, Nana. And thank you for the opportunity.
As a chief, you can have a man as a wife because your linguist
really?
is termed as your wife. No, not literally, but your link.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Our culture supports homosexuality.
So if somebody came to the palace and said, now Oyere were here, they don't necessarily mean I would. They mean like your linguist.
Oh, I see.
Because he sort of follows you about everywhere.
Oh,
He's termed as your wife.
I would love to be that. I would love to be that.
So no, we're not supporting homosexuality, but in the interest of brotherhood.
Exactly.
But what happened in Burkina? Burkina Faso.
Yeah, Nana. I think Ghanaians shouldn't worry at all. Yeah, we shouldn't. We should be concerned, but we shouldn't be apprehensive. And Burkina is light years away from Ghana in terms of stability. Burkina Faso is reeling under the effects of the coup. You know, Blaise Compaoré was taken off the scene. There was a sequel to the coup, and that was quashed. So Radisson Blu Hotel, Bamako, Mali, was attacked in a similar fashion. We saw this attack on Friday in Ouagadougou. So it can't happen in Accra because Ghana is a stable country. Our political leaders, the NPP, the NDC, CPP, PPP, all understand that would always go for their ballot box rather than their ammunition box. So the stability card plays to our advantage. The proximity could be scary, but I don't think in this ambience of stability in Ghana, such a thing could happen. And then secondly, some robust security responses have been made. As we speak, not only Paga, Sankan, Sehameli, and all terrestrial entry points into the country, we are doing aerial surveillance as well. And I can tell you on authority, and just to assure Ghanaians, that from tomorrow, our national security in the country will roll out some important programs. Tomorrow they are convening hotel owners in the capital, in particular, 27 hotels, including Mövenpick Ambassador Hotel, Golden Tulip, hotels that are usually frequented by foreign nationals and local nationals as well. And the conditions are going to be straightforward. They are going to be given 4 weeks, during which each hotel should have a scanner. It should have a metal barricade leading into the hotel. And number 3, whoever checks into the hotel, the person should have an ID that will immediately be forwarded to the Ghana Police Service and our intelligence agencies so that they will know who is coming into the country. Then on Wednesday, there's going to be a meeting of airline operators, KLM, Air Maroc, Swiss Air, everybody is going to be roped in so that we avoid what happened in the case of Naila Metefe. So if any terrorist is on the wanted list or the blacklist of Interpol or the international community, the person will not be permitted here. And as a condition as well, whichever airline operator has an airline that is coming into the jurisdiction, as soon as you enter our airspace, you must have furnished our national security with a flight manifest. So we know Nana is flying from London to Accra. We would know your background, and immigration would do the right thing. National security and immigration would do the right thing at the airport. And then on Thursday, owners of malls, Accra Mall, West Health Mall around Kasua, Achimata Mall that has just been opened, they'll also be brought together by national security, because we've come to the notice, it's come to our notice that there are people who operate malls and shops within malls, and virtually nothing is bought from those shops. People go window shopping, but they seem to be thriving. We need to understand the secret. And those who attacked the splendid hotel in Ouagadougou actually lodged at the hotel for 3 or 4 days before they launched the attack. So these malls have got warehouses. That is not to pry into the merchandise of people, but national security should have an idea. We need to have an inkling of what you are taking in. If this is Nana Arcade, for example, we need to know your stockpile of merchandise, and we need to sift through them so that Ghana and Ghanaians will be kept safe. So these are some of the robust security measures that have been put in place, and I think it should bring to rest the nervousness we've had in the past few days.
Let me take you back to IDs in the hotel. Are they going to get IDs of a certain profile or a certain customer, or anybody who comes in should produce an ID? Because somebody may be going there with some contraband who, I don't want my ID because of who I'm coming there with. And so I'm sure the hotel business is going to say, oh, hold on, you're going to kill our business.
I don't think they will have any cause to complain. And the hospitality industry, we've realized, is one of the nodes of vulnerability in sub-Saharan Africa. They are very easy to attack. So therefore, forward the passport. There would be a central database so that you furnish national security with all the details they need to know. And the questions will be asked. We aren't talking about profiling, selective profiling, but they need to ask you if you're an Arab, if you're a white guy, if you're someone from the Sahel, where are you from, what are you doing in Ghana, for how long will you be in Ghana, who are you in contact with, and all that. So it can't be business as usual. We see what is happening around us as a country, and therefore we need to take precautionary measures. And these are some of the measures I think should keep Ghanaians safe.
You see, even though Ghanaians have become very apprehensive and we are panicking and we are worried, you know, as a people, we really don't value life. I don't know if I'm using the right word, but you look at, and the president rightfully said that, you know, be scared of what happens on the road than who is going to come into the country. You look at some cars, you look at how some drivers are driving and everybody is quiet in the car and they drive them to their deaths, you know, constantly. If you turn around and tell them that, oh, be cautious, report a rubber bag, report, you know, this, report that, I mean, are we conscious enough to worry about those things? Because they are, I mean, we face some real dangers which, you know, we haven't bothered. I mean, look at how many market fires, one after the other. And each time we are told access, illegal connection, and no water. Each time, access to the market, illegal connections, and there was no water around. And then the next one bends and bends and bends. I mean, are we alert enough to start being sensitive about what you're asking us to do?
Nana, I think the world is a bit hypocritical. The US is so concerned when 1 or 2 American lives are lost to terrorist attacks, when in fact 30,000 people are killed as a result of gun control issues in the States every year. So death by terrorist attack and death by sheer negligence by people, I see no difference. At the end of the day, lives are lost and people are maimed. So therefore, security is a collective responsibility. And that is why I don't agree with people who say, no, governments that have come over the past 5 governments we have had have not shown the needed commitment to our national security. You mentioned rampant market fires and the road accidents we have and all that. I think we should have the collective, you know, responsibility and the urge to see security as a responsibility for all of us. Certainly, national security cannot keep you safe all the time. We have a police force that is less than 40,000. They will be stretched thin if they are to be deployed to every nook and cranny of the country. So petty staff, be each other's keeper, keep your guard, keep your watch all the time.
About coast to coast is, I think, about 520 kilometers, you know, from Axim all the way down to Tema. And, you know, I'm sure Boku to the other one, it's a bit narrower. So yes, I'm taking 100 kilometers off, maybe 420 kilometers. I mean, who's going to police 400 kilometers of land?
I think you heard a few days ago the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Defense and the Interior saying that we've got drones that will soon be operational so that we can have the needed surveillance and reconnaissance in, you know, monitoring that expanse of territory you are talking about. It can't be 100%. If border controls were 100% and drug cartels and illegal migrants wouldn't be able to sneak through the Mexican border into Texas in the United States, regardless of the sophisticated gadgets they have at their disposal. So we will do our best, and I'm told we are going to intensify joint police and military patrols along the border areas. And the checkpoints too will also be, they will punctuate every certain stretch of street from these border towns. So getting someone from Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, whom we suspect to be behind such an attack, sneak through the Paga border, I'm sure is going to be difficult. So therefore, we need to do more.
Difficult?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for anybody to cross the border into the country with the level of security we have currently.
They may not be on the radar. They may not be on the radar. They will not be a known, wanted, you know, bad guy. So they can easily come in.
Yeah, it's one thing to easily come in, and it's another to implement the heinous intention you have for the country. I believe whether you are part of AQIM, Al-Murabiton, or Al-Mulathamun Biddam, which is led by Mukhtar Bel Mukhtar, and I suspect quite strongly that they are behind the duo attacks in Bamako and Ouagadougou. I think these the French are doing so well in that area. And France has got forward operating bases in Burkina Faso. It is sharing intelligence. And I heard the Interior Minister this morning, when we were on the Super Morning Show together, indicate that we've not yet made any formal request to the Americans to help us in any way. So therefore it means things are under control. We are on top of our game, and we should have no cause to complain as things stand currently, because we'll be furnished with all the information we have about these bad guys. There are a few that will come clean shaven. They don't come with the features of a normal jihadi or a militant. So for as long as we've got, checks and balances across our borders, I think Ghanaians should just be fine.
I mean, why Ouagadougou is just because they're disabled? I mean,
yeah, I think the instability to a large extent contributed to that. And for every student of the history of Burkina Faso, a careful perusal will tell you that Blaise Compaoré, as a dictator who ruled for a quarter of a century and kept these people at bay, he had a gentleman's agreement with them. So they were holding sway in the Sahel. They would attack Mali, attack Niger, but never went close to Burkina. According to the records, this is the first time Burkina is suffering from a terrorist activity. So Blaise Compaoré has been toppled.
Why?
They've lost contacts. Those people have lost contacts within the transitional government and the newly elected government. So it's up to the Burkinabés either to do the vitriolic rhetoric of the French that they are going to continue fighting and all that, or go back to the old norm of having a way of keeping these people at bay. If not, there could be a spillover, not only affecting Burkina Faso. It depends upon the posture of Ghana. That is why I've said the final straw that would always break your camel's back is a military engagement abroad. So at some point, if this grows into a Frankenstein, similar to Boko Haram in northeast Nigeria, Ghana as a neighboring nation may be called upon to help militarily in the fight against Al-Morabito and Al-Mulathamon Bidam, or some of these Tuareg rebels that hold sway in the Sahel. If that happens, then concerns you are raising about people infiltrating the jurisdiction and carrying out attacks would be quite high. But as things stand, I don't think we've taken any silly, belligerent foreign policy posture to warrant an attack from outside.
So, as at the moment we have hoteliers, sifting through things.
Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow there's going to be a meeting at 3 p.m. And all hotel owners, yeah, they've been duly briefed. They should come so that these checks and balances will be there. And anybody who has held a meeting at Movenpick will tell you the level of laxity of security over there. On 2 occasions, I went in driving, nobody checked. I took a stroll outside and came in, nobody actually checked. And I know many of these Western officials that come to Accra now would opt for Movenpick. So therefore, if there is such lacuna in the security arrangement over there, government or national security cannot sit aloof before what has befallen other nations befalls us.
So, is it just the capitals that have to, I mean,
Dumasa, your area, Dumasa, what do you have?
Am I in a threat in a Dumasa?
Oh, no. For you, you don't even have a 3-star hotel. So you have no cause for complaint.
I think bed and breakfast down the road.
I think the heart of every country is your capital. When you lose your capital, you've lost everything. So therefore, let's start small, then spread to other areas. And the North too is quite a tricky area because Boko is there and other areas are also there. So the 3 northern regions have seen a heightened military presence historically. So the soldiers in the Northern Command, we are told, are tougher than those in the Southern Command. So I don't think there is any cause for alarm. If there is anything we should be concerned about, it's about how personally we can ensure our security, taking note of certain tidbits that would help us. But a major terrorist attack from outside, I beg to be differ.
Let me go to the phones and let's speak to our senior brother, Dr. Vladimir Enchidanso. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you, Nana. And good evening to our viewers and good evening to my brother, Ebert.
He has a very cheeky smile.
you know, when I was coming, I thought Doc would be here.
Yes,
but
yes,
I think he has a hold up somewhere. Doc, good evening, sir.
Good evening. I was held up somewhere. I told them I wouldn't be able to make it by the time that we start. So
Very good. Well, Doc, I mean, we are looking at Burkina Faso, and from a layman's point of view, I'm wondering, why Burkina? And in Akan, and I'm sure you are Akan, when your brother's beard is on fire, just fetch a pail of water and leave it next to yours just in case. Should we fetch a water and leave it next to ours, or Burkina, it's a different story and, it can't spill over?
I think we should. I have been listening to my brother about on several radio stations and other places, calming Ghanaians and whatnot. Yes, it's good we calm ourselves. But I tell you, Burkina Faso or no Burkina Faso, if the incident hadn't even happened, we need to understand that we are in an era of terrorism festering a lot. And it has a reason. As a result, the whole planet is the war front for the terrorists. And secondly, the impact of terrorism, or what they want to do, is to attack non-combatants and to make a statement. Their brutality is their stock in trade, and the fear they want to put in people, and the surprise that they want to put people on, and the very fact that they want to tell the world that we can reach you anywhere you are, alone make us believe, or make me believe, that we need to be alert all the time. We shouldn't think it was Burkina Faso, it was far away, or it was Mali, or whatever it is, and therefore we are immune from attack. What happened in Burkina and or Mali is something we shouldn't have been surprised, because the French people were the ones who stopped their forward movement towards Bamako. Again, the French have since 1996 been a thorn in the flesh of the jihadists in that part of the Sahel region, And so, one way or the other, it was to be expected. And I tell you, every American installation, every Western installation, every Western, whatever the West is doing, is a target for attack. Now that the Russians have also moved in, they are a target for attack. So what we need to do is to be more vigilant and not pride ourselves in the fact that it's a democracy, we are free. I've told many stations that what I fear most is that perhaps they wouldn't even attack any place in Ghana, but they can make Ghana a hub from where they would do some activities, recruitment, linkages, drug trafficking, gun running, etc., etc. So, yes, as you say in QC, they are watching on shit.
Doc, realistically, how can we police the borders between Ghana and Burkina? And I'm talking about the 400-kilometer thereabout stretch of land.
Yes.
Realistically, how can we police it?
The point is that with terrorists, you don't police your borders. Other than that, there wouldn't have been any 9/11. I mean, a few dozens just entered America. Some of them trained as far as Berlin, but they were able to enter America, seize American missiles, planes, civilian planes, and use them as missiles. So it is not the forward presence of gendarmes on our borders that matters. It is awareness, consciousness, ability to spot something untoward. And do we have lines of communication, awareness where, so if I see something very suspicious, I could call a certain line, and that the rapid response is there and whatnot. Do we have that? Are we training our people to be security conscious? I doubt. That is the most important. Yes, manning our borders. Yes, exercises to stem out terrorism, but they are not coming where they know police is standing. They are not coming where you know that you have your Ghana armed forces lined up or that sort of thing on the seas everywhere. What is most important, I think the best security would be the consciousness of the people, the awareness of the people where terrorism is concerned.
Doc, should we start doing profiling? Because, if I went into a hotel and they want to pat me down because I'm coming there with a bomb, that would upset me. Life is too sweet for me to go and blow myself up. And if they want to check somebody who wants to end his life and therefore they're going to hinder me, it's just going to be upsetting. Should they start profiling and think, well, this guy doesn't look like a tricky one. The next one there, he looks. I mean, should we start doing that?
No, we should start being vigilant, even at the hotels. I'm very happy that the security forces are saying they will be policing those places and that kind of thing. But it's not the formal wearing of uniforms and holding an AK-47 or a J3 that is important. What is important, the eyes which can spot somebody. You know, at times the way we accost people and inspect them is really ridiculous. You know, you see a big man passing and we say, oh, even a person we don't know, but dressed immaculately, and then we say, oh, say pass. But when we see a ruffian, then we think he will do that. No. If we want to be meticulous, then we need to be meticulous. Suspicion. In most places in the West, most of us who have the opportunity to be traveling, you will see that about 100 people will be allowed to pass. Only 1 or 2 persons will be accosted. And that is a better security where the training of the people are such that they have several noses, several eyes, several ears. But yes, if somebody is going to blow himself up, you might see the signs if you are well trained. And even people who are not well trained but are conscious of something untoward would be able to stem the tide. Unfortunately, Ghana is not security conscious. I mean, in the hotel, look at the indiscipline. I mean, a policeman wants to stop somebody and check something, and we solve the person, we call the IGP and things like that. Or somebody is doing his work. But the indiscipline is such that we are not patient. We don't want that. We don't want to be disturbed just in a wee bit, you know. That is my concern for this country, the indiscipline.
Doc, stay on there. Doc, stay on there for me. Ibad, if our 2 brothers hadn't been in town, would we have been so concerned about what happened in Ouagadougou?
I think there's no denying the fact that the presence of the duo has given Ghanaians cause for concern. A lot of worse things could have happened in a neighboring country. In La Côte d'Ivoire, we saw the conflict in Bouaké, and we saw the torpedoing of the regime of Laurent Gbagbo. But Ghanaians were not too concerned, you know. Yes, so the presence of Ben Atif and Al-Dobi, I must admit, has created a lot of brouhaha. But I've questioned the credibility with which people have actually tackled this debate, feigning ignorance about what was really happening, when in fact our international contacts had actually told us that they informed some of these opposition leaders. But Nana, to add up to what Doc is saying, when you go to Nigeria, the SSS, their version of national security, what it does is, if multimedia is a hotel and they need to give you security, they'll give you like 3 plainclothes SS officials that are originally not on your payroll. They will be paid by government, but they will have the eyes, the ears, the technical eyes and ears Doc is talking about. And therefore, Ghana's national security is towing that line. As part of the deliberations that will be held tomorrow, 3 security guards from each of the hotels that have been shortlisted would be taken through some special drills so that they would have the acumen and the technical know-how to help the others that do not have that kind of training.
I see. Doc. Hello, Doc.
Yes.
With regards to our compassionate deal we have here, I mean, how much of this is due to our usual political division? Are we, is one party playing, let's just punch hard so that we can win some points here? How much of all this brouhaha is due to that?
But the point is that we politicize every innocuous situation. Even this coming in of the 2 Guantanamo detainees has created a kind of division. The other day we were teasing each other and saying one should be given to NPP and one given to NDC to balance the equation. But jokes apart, yes, the politicization of everything and making political capital of everything is bad for our country. And I believe in such a situation, national consensus on how to stem the tide of terrorism. Because in other places, Mexico and others, opposition can lead and help the miscreants to cause mayhem. I don't think it's necessary for such you do me, I do you kind of thing to be creep into this question of terrorism. Elsewhere, even in America, I think a bipartisan kind of approach towards the fight on terrorism is seen. And towards this end, I really don't want these things to be politicized. It's unfortunate. My brother has been broadcasting everywhere that the opposition was informed, and then people took it up to some other levels. Whether the opposition was informed or not, the most important thing is that the opposition must play a role in the yes and no of everything, especially where terrorism is concerned. What we are having on our hands today is that opposition must know what is happening, government must be transparent to the people must themselves be aware, they must be made aware. I mean, we need to have education on everything. What is going to happen tomorrow is a very important thing, and I don't think it must be left into Accra, 2-3 hotels and whatnot, or joints. It should be an education that should go on in all the regions, everywhere, in every sport. They can come to a small place like Asakragwa and cause mayhem there. If 10, 20 people die in Asakragwa, it is the same thing as 2 people dying in Accra as a result of terrorism. And I believe that there's no need for politicization of this.
I mean, let me go back to you, but I know there's no need for politicization, but I heard you this morning that, look, the opposition was briefed, some time back. However...
Hello, Nana, your voice is going low.
Now, I was going to Ibad. Hello?
Okay, yes.
Now, I was saying that, prior to Ibad, telling us this morning that opposition had been briefed, 6 months ago, the opposition had a posture, as surprised as we all are, that we don't know where this thing happened. All of a sudden they were here, but like you're saying, they had been briefed before. I don't know how much of that you think is politicization, or why do you give that information?
Yeah, I thought it was necessary because I'm a global citizen. I work copiously with people, foreign governments, about the security of the sub-region. I mentioned Movenpick. Movenpick is one of the places where people come from elsewhere to meet me purposely. And therefore, we share information. The little I know about the security of the sub-region, I share. And I'm concerned about what they know about Ghana as well. So therefore, I try to pry and ask some more questions. But the issue of these 2 guys was not, the decision was not made in a vacuum. I think I said it, the Americans informed the opposition leaders. And I'm yet to, I said I humbly threw down the gauntlet. I'm yet to see a line from any opposition leader that I wasn't briefed, I wasn't informed by the Americans. They were. So therefore, I am on the same page with Doc, consensus building, making this a national issue, considering this a robust foreign policy decision that would affect both the NDC and the MPP in the long run, and should have been the order of the day. But people took a certain, combative posture right from the get-go, that people were importing some spooks into the country. And my granny in the village would be thinking, now they are being bombarded with issues of paranoia, then Al-Qaeda is going to invade Ghana, when in fact, there is no actionable intelligence, no smoking gun evidence that would happen. So I think a lot of politicization went down. I fault government. And for anybody who doesn't know the history of my commentary, there have been very few instances I've agreed with this government. I've lashed out at this government on Doomso more than any other person on the issue of the lopsided EPA agreement we signed with the EU. But I think we can't go wrong on this one. I've said if constitutionally or legally some of our laws in our books were breached, whoever took this decision should be made to answer. But on the level of security, I don't think the presence of these 2 guys would pose any existential security threat to us as a nation.
Well, is it not intriguing that Minister for Interior, Minister for Foreign Affairs were saying that they did not have 100% briefing? I mean, those are the things that make the average citizen a bit apprehensive, that, hold on, this is the Minister for Interior.
Yeah.
Apparently he was in South Africa. This negotiations probably went on for a period of time. I mean, what was he healing?
I think the communication was not held well, and the trickle down of information to the people was not done in the proper way. And Nana, Obama doesn't call President Mahama, or in future, if Donald Trump becomes the president of the United States and Nana becomes president, Trump will not just call him and say, this is a decision I think we should take. Then he goes about telling everybody. The foreign ministry had to come at a certain point. When they had dealt with the diplomatic aspects to the negotiation, then it was shifted to national security. So Hanatete, Honorable, did not have to go to Guantanamo because it wasn't part of a purview. The joint screening background checks between the CIA and our own national security had absolutely nothing to do with foreign affairs. So it is quite logical that she wasn't privy to some of the fine details about the background of these people, and it's quite understandable.
Well, Doc, let me say thank you very much.
Right. But just a quick one.
Sure.
The only place I think I'm worried about is the very fact that there's something has happened. All of us will have to help the government. It has been badly handled, as the boss has said. And again, it's not true that Hanatete, as a foreign affairs minister, is one of the greatest parts of security. If she was left out, it's wrong. And that is where the problem has come, because the minister seems to be talking too much. In that issue, I think they should have been quieter than to say, I don't know, I wasn't privy. It was badly handled. The government must ask people to help them to streamline this and let the minister keep quiet. Better that way.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much. And I think as far as security is concerned, I'm not an expert, but I think the last thing you want to do is leave people to speculate.
Exactly. So furnish us with all the pieces of information we need to know. But it would be the height of irresponsibility for any government to let in the open classified pieces of information. So there are times, you know, the more information you give out about your national security, the more you arm your potential enemies. Togo is a benign neighbor. It doesn't intend bad for Ghana. But future generations of leaders could cause Ghana and Togo to go to war. One would have given out the number of Apache helicopters we have, all in the name of transparency, telling people the number of naval warships we have and all that. So sometimes, when such issues that border on national security are kept clandestine and are shrouded in secrecy, I think regardless of the freedom of expression, the need to know, and the freedom to know and transparency, Ghanaians should be able to understand this. So then 2 weeks of this brouhaha, I think we are close to, we've had it to our neck. We're almost suffocated. I think Ghana should move on to other issues.
I'm going to take a break, and then when we come back, the conversation continues. But how about respect for just the average citizen? I mean, with all the stigma around these two individuals, I mean, could the state have been respected by informing us that, hello, we're going to be hosting these people? Is it part of international protocol? I don't know. Stay tuned, we're coming back. Thank you very much for staying. We're looking at the terror incident in Burkina and looking at our own situation to say, look, what do we do to stop us, from going there? And we are extending it to our two new visitors amongst us who have caused an absolute stir. Now, my position was that if somebody was held in remand for maybe 7 years or suspected pedophile, and he was held in remand for 7 years, and then it turned out that, well, he wasn't even a pedophile, he's been granted pardon. And I went home and I was says, well, I got this guy here, what, him, he was held wrongly for pedophilia for 7 years. So I've asked him to come and stay here. I mean, with that, and I got home and he was just there. I mean, I'll be concerned to Jack.
It would even be worse if you had little kids, like daughters.
In our case, if I had said, I know he hasn't been tried, but that's the tag.
It was badly managed. I think everybody would admit that it was badly managed. The Ghanaian mind should have been prepared for this. So maybe in future transactions.
I mean, what should they have done? Call Danado, which is, call Danado, call Chairman, suppose call all these guys and look, we have the N1, and apart from the N1, I hear there's the EC1, EC2. There are so many projects which the Americans have funded, and there are more to be funded, another 500 million, to be put into ECG and all that. So call all these guys and look, you and I know we need this money. We are hosting these two guys. We need to manage the communication. Come to the party. I don't know. Would that have worked?
It wouldn't. It wouldn't have worked. When Obama got in touch with our president, it was an upfront question. And I believe all other countries that are playing host to ex-detainees from Gitmo were given that option, Paraguay and other countries. This is what we want to do. By the end of the Obama's tenure, they want to shut down Gitmo. So will you be ready, or the Republic of Ghana be ready to take 2 out of 17 that would be sprinkled across Africa? If Obama gave His Excellency John Dramani Mahama the luxury of time to decide, not only at cabinet level, but to go and consult parliament, consult the opposition and all that, you know how vitriolic political discourse is in this country. It wouldn't even get off the table. And someone would call Adom FM on multimedia and start spewing out untruths about the issue. So it was better kept wrapped, kept under wraps, so that this would come as an interesting jigsaw in a puzzle we've all not been able to unravel. They teamed up and brought Chinese chairs, and both sides defended it? It was economic. Economic issues are different from security ones, Nana. And yes, I think anybody who questions the, sanity or prudence of this decision would be right. Because when you put 2 and 2 together, some people have asked, look at the expanse of territory in the US. You could have taken them to Texas. But of course, the Republican-Democratic debate in the US is also as venomous as we have in this country as well. Obama, right from the get-go, wanted to start, spreading these guys around the world. He spread about 67 of them by 2013. Then Congress passed the law that, number one, they would forestall any eventual, shutdown of Gitmo. And number two, they wouldn't host those guys on American soil. So was Ghana given the ample time to also decide whether it made legal sense for us to play host to these people. But I see this as a gesture coming from a tiny third world country that has for so years benefited from the United States of America. So if we could pull this off, I think it would only consolidate the bilateral ties between us and the Americans. And 2 years, not too far from now, Nana. Since the debate started, it's been 2 weeks. So we were satisfying our side of the bargain. By the time you realize we would have finished, then they would go back when Yemen...
Well, we want to live in Laboni, we're okay.
No, at any point Yemen stabilizes, they are good to go. It's not any entrenched clause that we should, by hook or crook, keep them here. As soon as Yemen stabilizes...
entitled to citizenship?
Oh, some of them have family, in Yemen. And Arabs don't easily intermarry, you understand? Even if they would marry, they would have some of these Lebanese, Arabs here in the country. So I don't think it would even cross their minds. Arabs by nature, Yemenis, there is a stigma about Yemenis in the Arab world. They are the poorest. That is why I think Ghanaians, we are doing this on the grounds of humanitarianism. They are the poorest in the Middle East. And there are certain countries where if you bear a Yemeni passport, you will not easily be given a pass, because they say they are seen as playing second fiddle to those from the Gulf, Kuwaitis, Qataris, Saudis, and the rest. So, Nana, it wouldn't be bad giving them a slice of Odumasa. Just for a while, for 2 years.
They'll do my road for me. I'll take it.
And people also think we struck a bargain with the Americans.
I mean, I was coming to that because, they won't just say, take these 2 prisoners, risk-free, or by all means there will be something. Maybe not personally to the president, but something to the state. Look, for the risk, hang on to this. Well, or maybe for the risk, in the next 3 years, I'm giving you that for this dam or that road or that pillar or something.
No. For 2 years, if you would ask for this much, because of this gesture, you are doing the Americans. So after those 2 years, whatever dam you demand in future, you request, they would have every right to say no to you, because you tied your, assistance to them and to the string of whatever, support you'd also give them. Look, Americans and Ghanaians will forever be allies. You and I will long be dead and gone, and the United States of America will still be a strong ally of the Republic of Ghana. So let's not look at something ephemeral, looking at what we gain a dam in 2 years because we are taking these guys. What about future partnerships we'll have with them?
I think what will hurt any reasonable Ghanaian is that for what we have, for the position we have, to put ourselves in such a disadvantaged position where somebody can give you their reject and you have to accept it because I can't build a road, I can't build a pipe, I can't do this, I can't do that. Therefore, you know, I'm at your beck and call. Yeah. I think that's what hurts the average Ghanaian. Even if we could have done all these things and we just took them, that's when the compassion comes in. But at this rate, you know that you're taking them because, you know, you're taking them because and not, you know, not in spite of.
I think if I were a jihadi around this time, ensconced in the rugged terrains of Afghanistan or Pakistan, certainly Ghana would not be part of my hit list nations.
No, you see,
because some people think there's going to be a ricochet effect on Ghana. We've not fought them. And Ghanaian soldiers are not fighting the Taliban. We aren't fighting Al-Qaeda.
No, and I don't know whether, you know, how personal my views, you know, are in this, but I am more hurt out of the disrespect or the position that we have put ourselves in, despite what we have. 520 kilometers of coast, center of the world, gold, vegetation, weather. You know, you have all these things, yet you are so poor in the midst of all these wealth that somebody can do a wrong for 14 years, call you and say, look, take two to try and right my wrong, and you are so helpless. Yeah. You know, we are not in the position for.
No, we couldn't have said no. We couldn't have said no.
That's what hurts me. I don't know about.
Yeah, you are speaking as a Pan-Africanist, and we wish we would have been able to right the historical wrongs we have since colonial times. But blacks have always played second fiddle to the whites. So that, you know, psyche is still, that mentality is still with us. When the French wanted to dump their dirty oil, they did so on the coast of the Ivory Coast. It happens all around the world. The third world is always a dumping ground for the unwanted materials of the first world.
Let me catch up with some of the comments. It says, we should rather fear those within who act as puppets. Our borders are porous and weak. Guns are smuggled with cattle to cross so many checkpoints. This is Ernest. Terrorists will attack where they will get enough numbers. Security should not be centered on these high-profile places like Movenpick, Tulip, etc. Makola, Kumasi Central Market, Techiman, Tamale Market are potentially densely populated places. The reassurance we are getting from Ibad is heartwarming, but that does not mean our security apparatus should go to sleep. They need to tighten their surveillance, especially at the borders, to be at the borders and be on the alert 24/7. This is from Al Hassan Respect in Tamale. This one says, this is the main reason why we are panicking. When we heard of the entering into the country by the 2 Gitmo detainees, let's watch out. We are at risk. Desmond in Kintampo. Please, Nana, I wish to respectfully remind the Interior Minister that Bongo share border with Burkina, and Bongo has not been mentioned when he was outlining the strategies. They are putting in place to ensure that Ghanaians don't suffer in the hands of these terror guys. Honorable Mark Mayongo, please, Bongo border at Yelowongo needs adequate security protection. Thank you. The Bongo concern is by McLean Ayamga. And then the last one says, Ghana has a lot of unapproved and such. Ghana has a lot of unapproved, and as such, the security agency responsible should be very careful because no one knows. I think unapproved borders. And this was from Sani. And these are some of the concerns of Ghanaians.
Yeah, they are unapproved routes. They are approved and unapproved ones. When you put them together, they are about 42. And we can't get things right all the time, but we can do our best as much as possible as a nation. And let's be optimistic. I said on the Super Morning Show today, if Nana were my neighbor and he had a rickety window and he was attacked, it doesn't mean if I have a broken door, I should pray that doom befalls me. It means I can take the needed precaution, nail a few rickets, joints of the door, so that in the unlikely eventuality that I'm attacked, I would be able to shield myself. I don't want a situation whereby we create an impression that we are lying naked, we are going to be attacked, they are coming in to kill Nana or kill me, what would I stand to benefit by spreading such fear?
But the authorities who have to calm people down are not doing the justice by saying, I don't know, I wasn't there. Hey, hold on, if you were not there, then who is there? I mean, these things...
I'm not in government, but I think people like Dr. Vladimir Ntredanso should be engaged by government. And when I say government, look, when you put Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and that prominent man, and the president, I see no difference between them. So when I mention government, I mean whether this current government, past government, or future government, we should engage such people the more. I think Lesiad will do a roundtable discussion about this, so that there would be. And the other, interesting piece in this jigsaw puzzle, have people asked, because Nana, there are certain things you are forced to say. There are places I'm invited to by Western officials, then I go, then I see the leaders of some of these civil society organizations, think tanks and all. So why have some of these civil society organizations, I don't want to mention names, why have they not come out strongly to kick against such a decision? Is it that they were also briefed or they weren't briefed about this? That is what I meant by broad-based consultation on this issue. That is why some people are keeping mum about it, because you would have nothing to stand on to criticize this foreign policy decision that has been taken.
Well. This conversation has not ended, and I think a lot should be done with whoever knew before or knows now to calm tempers down and to make sure that, panic, because you don't want to run a nation with panic. But going forward, I think those who are involved should do better. Those who knew before, those who are yet to know, should all do better. But Iba, thank you very much.
You're most welcome. It's always a pleasure.
And I know that this hasn't ended. This conversation has not yet ended.
Has our conversation ever ended? You and I, our conversations never end.
I know, so we'll come back and do it. Well, my name is Nana Sakwa. This is PM Express. And as I said, tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Iba.